Hey, so I'm Hannah. I'm here with Megan Jensen here today. So she is a supervisory engineer over the Aerospace Vehicle Developmental Testing at Hill Air Force Base. She started working for the Air Force as an intern while going to college. When she went to college, she got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in aerospace engineering. So it says that you worked as an intern. Would you suggest people doing that when they're my age?
Absolutely. So I was in college getting my bachelor's degree, and I had someone come up to me who I did not know, but they apparently knew me, and they came up to me and told me that they knew I was in the mechanical engineering department and that they had an internship that they would have loved to apply for, but they were changing majors and were no longer qualified, and gave me an email. And so I sent that person an email and applied. And so it was simply a case of being in the right place at the right time and being in the STEM degree and having those qualifications behind me.
So with your 2 degrees, you're a real-life rocket scientist. What does that entail most of the time?
So a lot of times it entails being at a computer, but I do get out into the labs, get to go do testing, and it's a lot of fun. We do a lot.
So what do you do in a typical day at your job?
So a typical day right now obviously is a little different because we're working from home for the most part due to COVID. But a typical day for me is unfortunately a lot of meetings, but we get to review test procedures and test plans and in anticipation of testing for the new ground-based strategic deterrent, which is coming online and is being developed right now. So I get to do the test plans and review those. Our main goal being safety, obviously, and making sure that what is being developed is safe and effective.
Would you typically travel if it weren't for COVID?
We would be in the office, and we are in the office a lot because a lot of our work is classified and cannot be done at home. But we will travel for the testing, and we'll be doing quite a bit of traveling as we get ramped up more and more. I'm over things like the booster, and so we get to go test the rockets, and we'll be traveling for that.
That's super interesting. Where will you be traveling for that? Can you tell us?
I'm not sure if I can tell you that, so I'm just gonna err on the side of I'll leave it at that.
Sounds good. What would be your best experience so far in your job?
So I was lucky enough to be selected for a program called the Engineer and Scientist Exchange Program, and I was selected for the 2018 cycle, and I was assigned to the Defense Science and Technology group in Australia. And so I got to go be a part of that group for 2 years. And there I was working in the Missile and Space Propulsion group, and we developed new rocket propellants, and we're doing research on things like rotating detonation engines and new ways to mix solid propellant and all sorts of things like that. And that was a fantastic experience for me.
So would you say your job is mostly hands-on or at a computer?
That one was a lot of hands-on. We were in the labs, we were physically mixing propellant, we were physically doing a lot of things. Now, with my current job, it's mostly at a computer, but we still get to get out and get hands-on during the testing.
How would you say that your job is helping people?
I would say that it helps people because what I see myself as doing is I'm helping those that are developing this technology. ICBMs are different. Nuclear weapons are different in that I spend all day, every day to make something that I hope to never see used. I don't ever want to see GBSD or ICBMs ever used in my lifetime because that will mean not great things for the world. But so what I see, what I'm helping is the people that are out there in the fields that are doing the work, that are in the silos doing the work, and it is my job to make their job easier.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. So if you could do this all over again, would you still come to the same path of working with what you do now?
Absolutely. It's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, and I think I've learned a lot, and I feel like I make a difference in the world, and I make a difference to the people that are out there that have to do the physical work that maybe I don't do. And so absolutely, I would do what I've done again.
So with all of the work that you have been doing, so what are some hobbies or some things that you do to de-stress?
One of my biggest hobbies, biggest passions, I should say, is I'm a big scuba diver. Being in Utah and landlocked, I don't get to do a lot of it, but I do enjoy scuba diving, and I got to do a lot of it in Australia. But other than that, I like to read, and I like to play tennis is the other thing I do to de-stress.
How did your job change the most during COVID?
I was in Australia when COVID hit, and so we went into a very strict lockdown, and so we went immediately home. However, because it was hands-on, because we were in the labs, it probably was only a few weeks before we started going back to the office. Here in the US, people are still at home, a year later. But in Australia, we moved back to the office much quicker because we had to do the work in the labs. And then coming home, back to the US, it has been different because I actually haven't ever been into my office yet. I just got back in September. And so with COVID still being around, I just came in, got a computer, and went straight home. And I still do occasionally go into the office, but it's a little odd not emailing people and not having actually met them face to face, because we do shift work, because we can't have that many people in the office. And so some go in the morning and some go in the afternoon, and so some of the people I've never actually met face to face, but still feel like I know them.
That's really cool. This has been really, really interesting. I think I've learned a lot that I didn't know before. So what would you say would be your advice for someone who is interested in a STEM field?
I would say that there's a lot of opportunity in STEM. There's a lot of different paths you can take. Even though my degree was mechanical as a bachelor's and an aerospace master's, there's 1,000 different directions you can go from that. And I think that STEM degrees and STEM pathways really set you up well in life. You can go whichever direction you want. I never imagined that I would have been able to go to Australia and physically mix, rocket propellants, and so, but that was a path that STEM took me, and I never would have had that opportunity otherwise. And so I think that if you're thinking of STEM, I think you just keep going, and sometimes it's hard, but it wouldn't be STEM if it wasn't hard. And so just keep believing in yourself and keep going.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.